Crawford's brilliant. Like he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man in the history of the game, unless you go back to certain situations with Pacquiao.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch.
Crawford's camp has outlined what they believe to be a major advantage over Canelo, but instead of gaining support, it has mostly triggered warnings from seasoned professionals who argue that facing Canelo isn't as simple as Crawford might assume. According to Team Terence Crawford, the undefeated fighter possesses a secret weapon they claim presents a unique and dangerous challenge for Canelo Alvarez. As both fighters gear up for a high-stakes clash, Crawford's unconventional fighting style may play a critical role in determining the outcome.
Me, I'm always up for a challenge. If you know Terence Crawford, you know he's always going to try to challenge and whatever. You can be bigger than him, taller than him. It don't matter. He's always going to challenge you.
Right.
And I can't not help it.
Right.
It's just in me. So it's
right. Led by longtime trainer Brian McIntyre, Crawford's camp maintains that no recent fighter can rival Terence's adaptability, versatility, and exceptional ring IQ. They believe these qualities make him the most threatening opponent Canelo has ever faced, even as the Mexican legend continues to cement his reputation as one of the sport's all-time pound-for-pound greats. However, numerous voices within the boxing world have warned that things could quickly turn against Crawford once Canelo begins to unleash his offensive arsenal. With the September 12th showdown in Las Vegas drawing closer, Crawford's team remains confident that their man presents a challenge unlike anything Canelo has faced in his storied career. According to Bernie Davis, a close associate of Crawford, no sparring partner or training environment can truly replicate what Crawford brings inside the ring. Davis insists that Terence's high boxing IQ and in-ring adaptability form a puzzle that even the decorated Canelo Alvarez might not be able to solve, a belief echoed by other members of the Omaha native's close-knit team.
He's still youthful about boxing. He loves boxing, and this is one way to get him up. You know, he's a challenge guy. He loves a challenge, and Canelo is the biggest challenge you can get. You know, we got to go up 2 weight classes, really 3 weight classes to get a guy like that. Hardest puncher, great counter puncher, tons of experience, undisputed champion, unified champion, a couple of divisions.
In a recent interview with Mill City Boxing, Davis emphasized that Canelo will find it incredibly difficult to prepare for someone with Crawford's dynamic style switching and tactical unpredictability. While some fans may draw comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, with his elusive movement, defensive mastery, and precision counterpunching, Davis argues that Crawford is an entirely different kind of threat. What sets him apart is his seamless ability to shift from orthodox to southpaw stances without sacrificing power or accuracy. According to Davis, this level of versatility could be the key to cracking the Canelo code, a riddle even the Mexican superstar, despite his elite boxing intelligence, may not be able to solve.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I believe in my abilities. He's a heavy dude, but he's not a big guy. Like, he's 5'8", I'm 5'8", you know what I mean? My arm's longer than his, you know? That fight would be good. You won't get hit in the fight.
Nevertheless, some analysts argue that excessive stance switching might be ineffective against a seasoned veteran like Canelo, who isn't easily rattled by such tactics. They point out that Canelo's ability to adjust mid-fight, combined with his exceptional upper body movement and punishing body shots, makes him a nightmare for any opponent, regardless of their style. While Crawford may possess the tools, the real question is whether he can successfully implement them against a fighter as elite as Canelo, who has spent 18 years going toe-to-toe with virtually every kind of opponent.
Question to me, how will the 12-pound difference be for Terence Crawford? It's going to be his first fight at 168. For Canelo, this is the weight class that he always fights at, no problem. But I'm really curious on how Terence Crawford is going to be able to adjust to this and if it's going to be advantage.
One of the most vocal figures cautioning Crawford about the danger ahead is retired former world champion Amir Khan, who famously stepped into the ring with Canelo in 2016. In an interview with Fast Slots, Khan recalled the brutal knockout that left him unconscious in the 6th round, a moment that, by his own admission, altered the course of his career permanently. Khan didn't just lose a fight that night, he lost a part of himself, a psychological edge that never quite returned. He's pound for pound the best fighter in the world, Khan said. I was never the same fighter again after facing Canelo. You can get knocked down, fine, you get back up again. But the knockout Canelo gave me, it probably took 5 years off my life.
Toughest opponent, you have to say Canelo probably, because he was so big and physical and strong. You know, he had the weight behind him. I remember hitting him, and he didn't budge. Like, he did not even move. You know, that's the you think.
Your face when you said that.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, I swear that's what. And when I hit him with that left hook, right hand, and that's a shot I've literally knocked a lot of people down with. And he didn't move back, and I thought, oh shit. I got my hands full here.
Khan's reflection serves as a powerful warning about the physical and psychological price a bout with Canelo can exact. For all of Crawford's talent and intelligence, he will have to deal not only with Canelo's power, but also with the pressure of facing a man who has left a trail of battered and broken fighters behind him. Khan's warning extends beyond the punch. It's about the lasting damage to a fighter's confidence, resilience, and overall mindset. He believes that Crawford, despite all his brilliance, is stepping into a trap laid by one of the most physically dominant fighters of this generation.
Terence Crawford is going to be such an easy fight for Canelo because Terence Crawford can run the whole fight and win, as we have seen in the Canelo versus William Scope fight, which means Terence Crawford is going to have to engage with Canelo, and Terence Crawford doesn't have the power to hurt Canelo. Terence Crawford's performance against Israel Madrimov was also trash, and Israel Madrimov isn't even the best fighter at 154. And let me remind you, Terence Crawford is 37 years old, so I'm expecting Canelo to knock out Terence Crawford the same way he knocked out Amir Khan.
Come on, Shagor, come here.
Come on.
Julio Cesar Chavez, a legend in his own right and one of Mexico's most revered sports icons, has also shared his thoughts on the potential outcome. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, Chavez boldly predicted that Canelo Alvarez will not only win the fight but knock Crawford out. "It's really an uneven fight," Chavez said. "Crawford is a great fighter, but Canelo is out of his league. Crawford is going in for the money, and Canelo is going to knock him out." For Chavez, it all comes down to raw physicality and punching power, a gap so wide that even the most skilled technician may find it impossible to overcome.
The two fighters are going to be different weight classes, even though they're going to fight on a specific weight. He believes that they're just going because of the money, Crawford, but probably Canelo is going to knock him out.
Would you rather see Canelo?
Oscar De La Hoya, who promoted Canelo for over a decade before their contentious split, offered a more nuanced perspective. Speaking to Brian Mazik, De La Hoya acknowledged Crawford's extraordinary talent and the historical significance of a potential upset, but ultimately leaned in favor of a Canelo win. If Crawford can do it, Jesus Lord. I mean, give this man the title of being the greatest ever, but I just don't see it. Canelo is a big puncher. Yeah, he walks on quicksand, and that's the one thing Crawford can exploit. But the pressure of the heavier guy, Canelo will be 200 pounds in that ring. It's a tough fight. Still, I'll give all the credit in the world to Crawford if he pulls it off. He'll be the messiah of fighters.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man in the history of the game. Unless you go back to certain situations with Pacquiao beat me, but I was a dead man walking anyway. But a good little man never beats a good big man, so it's a tough test for Crawford, but I'm not counting him out. The bottom line, this is the truth again, it's a money grab. That's it.
Eddie Hearn, one of boxing's most influential promoters and a close collaborator with Canelo in recent years, echoed many of these concerns. He noted that while Crawford's skills are second to none, the size disparity is simply too significant to ignore. Crawford's not just coming up to 168, he just moved to 154. Before that, he was at 147, then 140, and even 135, Hearn told Boxing Social. For Hearn, the issue isn't just about talent, it's about size and durability, too. Areas where Canelo holds a clear advantage.
We're going to be able to bridge this weight gap.
I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah.
Hearn pointed to Crawford's fight against Israel Madrimov, a powerful 154-pounder, as a sign that even at junior middleweight, Crawford has struggled to dominate more physically imposing opponents. I think he struggled against Madrimov, who's a strong 154-pounder, and he'll really feel it in there against Canelo, Hearn added. While the British promoter fully acknowledges Crawford's brilliance, he remains adamant that the American's move up in weight will ultimately be his undoing.
So I think that he's much too much weight for Terence. His style was difficult. People will say it was a poor performance from Terence, but let's just say it was a great performance from Madrimov. I think 168 is much too big for Terence, but like he said, if the money's right, he'll fight.
Shortly after his major win against Ryan Garcia, the outspoken Rolando "Rolly" Romero also shared his thoughts, outright dismissing Crawford's chances. Speaking to ES News, Romero said, "Let me ask you this. Who's a better fighter, Floyd? Mayweather or Terence Crawford? You're going to compare a 168-pound solid, fully grown man like Canelo to fight Terence Crawford?" He went on to mock those who believe Crawford has a shot, calling them stupid for ignoring the basic laws of physics that govern boxing. "They have weight classes for a reason," Romero insisted, emphasizing that Canelo's sheer size and power would be far too much for Crawford to handle.
Rolly Romero claims Canelo Alvarez, who has only lost twice in 67 fights, will suffer a third defeat, but not against Terence Crawford. Rolly believes David Benavidez would school Canelo, as Benavidez is fighting to win, not just for a paycheck. However, Canelo has been dismissing a Benavidez fight, focusing instead on a Bivol rematch. In boxing, anything can happen, so stay tuned.
David Benavidez, a top contender now campaigning at light heavyweight, is the latest high-profile name to weigh in on the potential clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Having long pursued a fight with Canelo himself, Benavidez's opinion carries considerable weight, especially given his experience competing at the sport's highest levels. In an interview with Sean Zittel, Benavidez explained why, despite Crawford's undeniable skill, he believes the Omaha native would face a steep uphill battle in his 168-pound debut. Benavidez began by praising Crawford's technical prowess, calling him one of the best technical fighters he's ever seen. Still, he quickly tempered his admiration by pointing out a key factor that could influence the fight's outcome. He noted that Crawford appeared to lose some of his trademark punching power after moving up to 154 pounds. "I'm not saying he had problems," Benavidez explained, but he looked like he didn't have the same power he had at 147.
They're too many weight classes apart. And although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Canelo's going to come down to 160.
For a fighter like Crawford, renowned for his pinpoint counters and finishing instincts, even a slight dip in power could prove catastrophic against a naturally bigger, stronger opponent like Canelo. Benavidez further expanded on the physical, realities that make this matchup especially dangerous for Crawford. Crawford is a one-of-a-kind fighter, and if he knows he's going to 168, he'll probably bulk up, but weight classes have to be respected, he said. This point mirrors a widely held belief in boxing. Weight divisions exist for a reason. While Benavidez acknowledged Crawford's elite skill set, he emphasized that Canelo's physicality and natural size advantage at super middleweight give him a clear and possibly decisive edge.
My prediction is Canelo's gonna walk him down. Crawford is gonna do a lot of defense. Now, if he pulls off that win, dude, that's gonna be one of the most biggest, upsets of all time for this dude to go up that many weight classes. And now, I do think that, he's gonna get his little shots in as far as, finessing and all that, because his hands are definitely way faster than Canelo, but just the weight and the way that Canelo fights, he's not gonna back up against Crawford. Yeah.
From Benavidez's perspective, the raw physicality of the larger man in the ring is something that simply can't be overlooked. He noted that while Crawford may add muscle in preparation for the jump to 168 pounds, the transition isn't as simple as just bulking up. Fighters moving up in weight often face a difficult trade-off between speed, power, and stamina. Very few have managed that leap as smoothly as someone like Canelo, who has successfully competed as high as light heavyweight. If Crawford is going against Canelo in his first fight at 168, he has a lot of disadvantages working against him. So I feel like Canelo would win. He's bigger and more experienced, so I give him the edge, Benavidez concluded.
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you can't.
Meanwhile, Lopez, another respected figure in the sport, also sided with the Mexican superstar, predicting a late stoppage victory for Canelo. Speaking to ES News, Lopez offered a more measured opinion, acknowledging that Crawford could present early problems for Canelo before the size and power disparity begins to take over. I think Crawford is going to give Canelo a hard time in the beginning, but once Canelo gets a little bit comfortable in that ring, adapting to Crawford's style, we'll see Canelo finishing him off in the late rounds, Lopez said. His view highlights a critical factor in this matchup, Canelo's capacity to make mid-fight adjustments. Over his career, Canelo has shown a remarkable ability to decode and dismantle the styles of even the most technical or elusive opponents. His bouts with fighters like Austin Trout, Erislandy Lara, and Caleb Plant reveal a consistent pattern of gradually breaking down slick boxers. If Crawford can't hurt Canelo early, or at least earn his respect, the fight may follow a similar script, with the larger, more powerful man wearing him down as the rounds go on.